Yes?
I was,
What?
where am I?
Well, you're here, of course. Where else could you be?
Yes, but where is here?
Where do you think?
Well, I don't know, it all happened so fast.
Name.
What do you want that for?
To check against the list.
Yes, but why?
To see if it's there, of course. Crikey! You're not the sharpest tool in the box, are you? Head wound, was it?
You can't insult me like this.
Why not?
Because I...
What? Look, I haven't got all day. Name.
Miles.
That it?
Miles Ponsonby Size. With a hyphen.
Oh, we mustn't forget the hyphen, must we?
Is this heaven? I mean, you can't be St. Peter.
That is a very sexist and outdated attitude, Miles.
Well, St. Peter should be.
An old man with a bushy beard standing in front of the pearly gate?
Well, yes.
So who says that female figures can't take hold important roles?
Well...
So, do you believe in outdated Western gender stereotypes or papal-funded imagery used to control and exploit the downtrodden masses?
I'm sorry. I'm confused.
Not difficult in your case. Oh, borderline. Interview. So, have you committed 6 or less cardinal sins in your life?
Cardinal?
Or deadly, whichever works for you?
Ah.
Oh, look, you know, greed, wrath, sloth, lust, gluttony, coveting your neighbour's oxen, that sort of thing?
No. I don't think so. I mean, not really.
Sure.
Yes.
Final answer? Remember, the Almighty is all-seeing and all-knowing, so, no fibbing.
Yes. Definitely. Absolutely.
Oh, well, Miles. With a hyphen. That's something to be very proud of, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Very proud.
Better check how he's settling in.
When I started editing this film, I thought the characters should appear in puffs of smoke rather than just being there, which didn't do the project justice and wasn't very cinematic. So when the devil character, Lucy, and I trust that the significance of the name isn't lost on you, so when she appears it's in a rather splendid puff of smoke, like this. However, to get that effect, I needed a clean plate, that is, the scene without the character in it. The idea is that we see the empty space and then, puff, our character pops into existence. Except that in this case, no clean plate had been shot. Fortunately, After Effects has a very useful facility called Content Aware, where objects can be removed from a scene seamlessly. This was the original footage, and there's a section just before Lucy enters her first line which would normally be edited out, so I'm going to use that. The procedure is actually simple to invoke, but the whole process does take some time to complete. Initially, a mask is drawn around the object that's going to be eliminated. The mask is then set to subtract, and now we have a transparent area in the middle of the frame. What the Content Aware facility does is to scan the area around the transparent section and attempt to fill it with an image that takes on the same characteristics as the surrounding area. It does this intelligently, frame by frame, so any movement in the surrounding area is also present in the fill. Starting the process opens this window with a thumbnail of the main screen, and it's just a matter of clicking on Fill Layer. It takes a little time to complete, so I'll skip forward and we'll come back to it when everything is finished. So here we are at the end of the procedure. The central character is now gone, and to quote a well-known comedian, you can't see the join. To get the pop effect, I'll drag the layer, the one where she's visible, over the blank layer and do a fast fade from one to the other so she appears in a controlled fashion. All that's left now is to add an appropriate puff of smoke. Flash, bang, wallop.
Yes?
Another concern I had with the original footage that here was our princess of darkness working from a scrap of paper on her lap and invoking the gateway to hell by pressing a pretend switch under the table. I would have thought that the Kingdom of the Dead would have upgraded its equipment to something a bit more modern, so I came up with the iPad. Apple products are the work of the devil anyway, so it seemed appropriate. So initially I prepared some basic animation for the screen. The information section on the right appears by masking it out and then animating the mask downwards, revealing the text and arrow. The push button is the trigger for the flame pit under Miles's feet, and I reduced its scale a couple of times so that it appears to depress and then return. This was timed to coincide with Lucy's finger pressing down when I overlaid the animation onto the iPad. Here's the moment that it happens. So once it was all pulled together, I added the whole thing onto the desk footage, angling it in 3D space so it looks as though it's lying down on the table. And so the decision is to send Miles downward, which brings us to the flame pit. Here's the bare bones of how the flame pit was constructed. This is the shot of the grassy area where the original concept was that he'd been incinerated off screen, hence the scattering of ashes. But again, not very innovative, or that word again, cinematic. First I took the ellipse tool and drew an angled circle to represent the pit's opening. These masks, by the way, keep what's inside them and eliminate what's on the outside, but by inverting the mask we get the opposite effect. So now we have the grassy area with the open pit. But it needs a sliding cover, so back to the timeline and duplicate the top layer. Then open the mask properties and turn it back to add. Now we have the pit cover. Note that by dragging the bottom layer, the pit cover appears to slide open or slide close. By creating a keyframe for the close position and then another for the open position, the pit cover will move across at the appropriate time. Now to add some more elements. Here's a pre-prepared clip of some fire. It has an alpha channel already, so the background is transparent, and by placing it behind the grass in an appropriate spot, the pit now has flames licking upwards. Now we need to drop Miles into it. I took a still frame from an unused clip, cropped him out and pre-animated him moving downwards. Placing this animation over the pit ready for his drop, you might notice that his legs are missing. This is because there was no footage of him in his entirety, but no matter, I'll just crop the bottom part and have him dropping out of sight behind the lip of the pit. And now, with a few more embellishments, the shot is complete. But visual effects aside, one of the joys of editing is to add value and effectiveness to the footage, to emphasize points or create mood. It isn't just about banging the clips together in the right order. Here are some examples. This one is where Lucy is getting annoyed with Miles because he doesn't want to give his name. Firstly, this is the clip as shot.
Look, I haven't got all day. Name.
Now let's reframe and add some forward jerks, synchronized to her words.
Look, I haven't got all day. Name.
See how this emphasizes her words and establishes the waspishness of her character. Now let's see how a musical sting, accompanied by a forward track, creates a sense of menace or impending danger. Firstly, this next clip as it was shot.
That is a very sexist and outdated attitude, Miles.
Now the same shot with the embellishments.
That is a very sexist and outdated attitude, Miles.
Again, this gives us a sinister undercurrent that wasn't there before. And finally, this is where she's drawing Miles into a trap by getting him to admit that seventh sin.
Oh, well, Miles. With a hyphen. That's something to be very proud of, isn't it?
Oh, yes, very proud.
Now we add an unsettling musical motif, accompanied by a long track right up to her face, plus an almost subliminal roll of thunder to suggest disapproval from above.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, Miles. With a hyphen. That's something to be very proud of, isn't it?
Oh, yes, very proud.
He's been manipulated and there's no way back. It's all, as they say, in the edit. So, all in all, an excellent script and a good standard of acting. So, what can we learn from working on this film? Well, clean plates are easier to do on the day, rather than having to slog through the content-aware process to create one. Also, a word of warning. If you're going to film shiny objects, particularly chrome-plated ones, just remember that they make excellent mirrors, and if you're not careful, you might find yourself making a cameo appearance.